Life Insider asks, are you single? Oh dear. Nice questions, guys. Hi, and welcome back to my English learning channel. I'm Claire, and you can also find me on TikTok or Instagram, where I regularly post videos on English learning. In my last video, I told you 6 facts about me, and in this video, I promised to answer your questions in the comments. And there was one question that stood out to me that I would like to focus on in today's video. Okay, so at Abdiel Rodriguez 5101 from Panama asked, what is your method to learn a language? And I love this question because I'm assuming you are watching this video because you are learning English as a second language. And in my last video, I told you guys that I have learned German as a second language, and I'm currently learning Italian as well. So as an adult, learning a new language can be very challenging, and I'm gonna share with you my method for learning a new language. Okay, so my first tip would be to define your goals. Ask yourself why you want to learn the language. What are you going to use this language for? Do you need it because you're going to be working in this language? Would you just like to improve because you will be traveling a lot in this language? Do you have family or friends that you communicate with in this language? Maybe it's just a personal interest because it interests you to learn English, or you just want to be able to watch Netflix or some TV shows in the original languages or read books in the original language. If you know your clear goals for why you want to learn the language, it's going to be easier for you when you set out learning that language. Okay, my next tip is to immerse yourself in this language. Now that is really hard to do if you don't live somewhere that speaks the language. Like I live in Germany, so I am fully immersed in that language. And as soon as I moved here, I was able to really learn the language because I was surrounded by it every day. So if you're learning English and you're not immersed in the language every day, maybe you don't live in an English-speaking country, but your goal is still to learn the language, try to watch as many English movies or TV shows as you can. Also listen to music in English, try and learn the lyrics. This can be a really fun and helpful way to learn or immerse yourself in English. Listen to podcasts. We're so lucky we have so many podcasts in English now where they will be using colloquial and slang. So if your goals are also to be able to communicate with friends in English, podcasts are a great way to immerse yourself in that without actually being in an English-speaking country. You also need to familiarize yourself with the basics. Yes, grammar is important. You have to learn grammar. Now, if you are starting from scratch learning English and you've stumbled upon my videos and maybe you don't have the basics, I have an English grammar course that you can purchase, and I'll put the link in my description below. So before, or not even before, but while you are immersing yourself and familiarizing yourself with different forms of English, movies, podcasts, books, it is still really important to know and learn the grammar. So if you don't already have those basics, check out my English grammar series, and I'll link that below. For learning new vocabulary, I highly suggest reading. Now, I also have a method for reading in a foreign language, and I stumbled across this method when I was learning Italian. So when you approach reading in English, it's really important that you don't stop and look up every single word that you don't understand. My suggested method is to read the entire thing completely through. So maybe if it's a book, read the chapter all the way through. And before you read, look at if there are any pictures, read the title. If there's a title, you can translate that. so you get an idea of what this chapter is going to be about, and then read it through completely without stopping and see how much you get from the beginning. There might be words in there that you didn't immediately understand, but while you read and as you're given context clues, you might actually figure out the meaning of this word all on your own while reading. Now, once you've read it through the first time, you can go back and read it again. And if you're still unsure about the meanings of words, look these words up and be sure to write them down in your own handwriting, in your notebook, or make flashcards, so that you can use them as memory aids later. Lastly, when learning a new language, please be patient but persistent. Learning a language takes time. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You've maybe heard this before, but making mistakes is how we learn. Be patient with yourself and keep going if you feel discouraged. Be persistent, because usually there's always a point when you feel like you won't get any better and you're not really sure how you can improve. But if you keep at it and keep learning, you will find before you even realize you actually have improved. If you're doing English a little bit every day, whether that's just listening to a podcast, watching a show, or working on your grammar, all of this is going to accumulate over time and you will improve. So thank you so much for asking that question. I hope my answer was helpful to many of you when approaching learning a new language, specifically English, and what methods you can take, how you can approach that. Remember, everyone's learning style is a little bit different. Give this video a like if you found it useful. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and I will see you then. Bye for now. Let's see. Mohammed Islahuddin, I hope I'm saying that right, asks, how old are you? I'm 30. Life Insider asks, are you single? Nope. Manu Boo 2068 wants to know, what is the difference between life in America and Germany? That one might need to be a whole video on its own. Okay, that's a wrap.